Now, more than ever, we need to focus on stories of strength, courage, and unity. Welcome to COVID Talks, a series dedicated to promoting positive conversations during uncertain times.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to tonight's edition of COVID Talks, positive conversations during uncertain times. My name is Anthony Rapp of PR Cision, and I'll be your host for this evening. If you're watching us live, first and foremost, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. If you could do me a favor, go to the bottom of the page, wherever you're watching this from, and click the share button so we can continue to spread the message of positivity. If you're tuned in, listening to us on our podcast, thank you for downloading it. We really appreciate it. Tonight, we have a great guest with us. I had the privilege of speaking with him just now in the green room behind the scenes to get to know him a little bit better. He has done so much for the community that we'll ask him to talk about. But the irony is he's doing it because he doesn't want any recognition. He's doing it just because he wants to get back to Staten Island. And there's a ton of stuff he's done that he shared with me that if he doesn't share because he doesn't want the credit for it, I'll mention a few things. But very involved in the community. Tomorrow he's hosting a pop-up pantry from his home, basically to allow people to come and get food that they may need if they're in dire straits. Before hosting this event, he was actually delivering this food in his own vehicle all across Staten Island. And what happened was the demand became so large that he figured it was easier and safer to do what he's doing with this pop-up pantry idea. So we're very excited to have Chris Haynes with us. We'll get to him in a little bit. Before we do that, though, as we do each night, we're going to do a few positive news COVID headlines of the day. First up, another great story. A Staten Island EMT, Tony McKay, was released from Rumsey. He was suffering from the coronavirus and was released. As you can see here, there were hundreds of people gathered. There was also a really nice video. I'm not going to post the video because it's about 12 minutes long. But again, first responder and EMT, shout out to Tony McKay. Congratulations. We're so proud and so happy that you've recovered. Firefighters from Engine Company 155 and Ladder Company 78, where he works, were there to greet him and bring him home. So we're happy to hear a first responder has come back, and we'll be able to enjoy Mother's Day this week. In other news, we had the guests who were the creators of the Go in Your Purse for a Nurse campaign. We were lucky to have them with us a couple of weeks ago. Since we spoke then, their campaign has gone national, and they've raised over $21,000 to put towards the cause. They had planned on tomorrow going to Staten Island University Hospital and dispersing gift cards. So what they did was they raised money, and the money they raised, they're going to give gift cards to local restaurants to all the first responders at Staten Island University Hospital. Because of the weather, tomorrow looks like it's going to be raining. They've postponed it, and they're going to do it next week. But again, shout out to the creators of this program because it started in their living room as an idea. It grew to a national concept. $21,000 were raised. Great job helping our first responders and helping promote positivity during these uncertain times. And as we know, Mother's Day is coming up. There's still time to enter. AF Bennett, our local salon here on Staten Island, well known, they are actually hosting a selfie with mom competition. So all you got to do is take a selfie with mom and upload it. As we speak, I am going to put this link in the comments section of the live stream. So head over to the link, upload a selfie with you and your mom. You'll be entered into the contest. The contest ends Mother's Day at noon. And if you win and you're selected, you and mom both get a free spa package valued at $280 each to AF Bennett. So again, a local business doing something nice, especially this weekend with Mother's Day. And finally, another Mother's Day initiative, Giovanni's Trattoria, located in Eltingville, is hosting a virtual wine tasting event. It's going to be happening tomorrow night at 8 p.m. I believe there are still about 3 or 5 kits left. They'll send you an entire wine kit to your door, including a wine glass, samples of wine, a little antipasto platter, along with some cheeses, meats, grapes, and breadsticks. And they'll also provide you with a link to log in live to the live wine tasting tomorrow night. So a good example of a local business doing something unique to try and engage the community during these times. And of course, how can you follow us? How can you stay up to date on what we're doing? Follow us on Facebook at COVID Talk. Check us out on our website. at covid-talks.com. Of course, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at COVID Talks and download us on iTunes or Spotify. You can listen to our podcast. And finally, if you're interested in being a guest or have a topic you'd like to hear us talk about, or if you or a client would like to create a live stream similar to what we're doing here, send us an email, info@prcision.com. We'll get to it. We'd love to have you on or get you set up so that you can do something similar to what we're doing here today. All right. So right now, as I mentioned, we have with us Chris Haynes, doing great things in the community. Very, very involved in the community. I think a lot of you are going to recognize him because he worked at Villamonte Pizzeria previously. And when I saw him, I said to him, I said, I know you. And he said, you know me from Villamonte? I said, absolutely. But then I realized that I also know him from his work with New York High School. They do a car show. It's probably the biggest car show in Staten Island. He also shared some interesting stories with me about other initiatives that he's working on in the community. And again, he's doing it because he said to me, because it's the right thing to do. I do these things because it's what Staten Island needs. I'm not doing it for the credit. And that's a man that really, really needs no introduction. Doing great things just because it's the right thing to do. Wish there were a lot more people like you, Chris. But before we bring him on, he is also the winner of the Unsung Hero Award. Last year, he won the award from the Staten Island Sports Hall of Fame. And once again, he was also heavily involved in New York High School and their car show. So right now we're going to bring up Chris.
Hey guys,
yeah. Perfect. So as long as we got you, I gave you a promo, and I hope that you're going to be able to answer questions about some of the stuff we spoke about. I know you don't want credit for it, but some of the stuff we were talking about was really stuff that needs to be shared. But before we get into that, give us a little bit about your background for people who may not know you.
I was born and raised on Staten Island. Lived here my whole entire life. I can't say that about a lot of people. 43 years I've been living on this island. Lived in Newdorp, Tottenville. Now I reside in Bay Terrace with my wife and my 3 kids. I do a lot of work for Newdorp football and their sports programs. I currently work at Meals on Wheels. I left Villamonte Pizzeria after 20 years. It was time for a little change. Nothing against them. I love them. They always did right by me, and I would never talk down about them, no matter what. But it was time for a change with my family, and the opportunity came up to work for a great organization like Meals on Wheels. And I jumped on it. A couple of weeks ago, you know what? Me and my wife worked at a Up Pantry at Sagayan Avenue with a good friend of ours, Mr. Joe Preach. And basically it was just families coming up, getting food and whatnot. And it was sad to see how bad Staten Island is struggling during this whole time. People not working, people not getting paid, stimulus money not coming. It's been tough. So after we left, I said to my wife, we got to do something about this. So we put our heads together and came up with this whole idea of a pop-up pantry. We gave it a week to get things together. I was only thinking I was only going to get a couple of donations. You open my garage now, you're not going to be able to get in there. You can walk into the front of my house, there's bags upon bags all over the place. Fresh produce in my garage. Tomorrow is going to be an event that Staten Islanders can really appreciate. I'm looking to give back to the public, give back to Staten Island. It's not about me. It's about Staten Island. It's about giving back. And if this is, you know what I can do, I'm going to hold my head high. You know what, this year, normally this would be car show season for me. You know, full force, going to car show here, car show there, you know, this, that, running to get trophies here and there. But because of this whole coronavirus, unfortunately, we had to cancel the show for the first time ever. And it broke my heart because I put my mind and soul into that show because I know the money I raise goes directly to the football team. No money comes out of my pocket. It all comes from donations. It all comes from just people wanting to help the kids at Newdorf.
So, Chris, let me interrupt you for 1 second because
Okay.
I want to focus in on each of these things because everything you're doing is great. So let's go back a little bit. So talk a little bit. As you may know, we had the CEO of Meals on Wheels, Joe Tornello, was nice enough to be our guest. So talk a little bit about what's going on with Meals on Wheels. I know they changed their delivery because of safety, but what are you seeing in that respect?
It's basically what happened is this: Meals on Wheels, as many people know, delivers lots of food to Staten Islanders, senior citizens. And it's not a big kitchen. It's not a big, it's a small kitchen. There's almost, good, give or take 40 people at a time in that kitchen. But as this whole virus thing was going on, people were starting to get worried. We're on top of each other. So we had to permanently shut down the kitchen. But Meals on Wheels, doing the right thing, knowing that everybody has families, decided to, let's continue to pay our employees and make sure their families are taken care of. And you know what? I owe them that, because if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be able to live where I am right now. And I give them all the credit in the world for doing that. They could have been like, go collect unemployment. And you know what? A lot of people are having problems with unemployment, but they stood tall and said, you know what? We're going to still take care of you and your family. Don't worry about it. So basically, Monday and Friday, we go in, we set up bags for on Monday we go in, we give the drivers bags, and they deliver them to the customers, to the seniors. It's five days worth of food. And then on Friday, we go and prepare the bags for Monday, but they also get a weekend meal. They get three dinners,
Right.
juice and whatnot. So
even during the virus, Meals on Wheels has adapted and they're able to serve. And it's amazing that you're one of the people who do it, because before we spoke earlier, I didn't even realize that you were involved with that. So another great thing that you're doing for the community. Let's talk a little bit about, before we get into the food pantry. I know, and you mentioned just now, that your car show is your heart and soul. You love that. You love working on it. Tell us a little bit about the car show. I know I've seen it before. It's a huge event, but what's the relationship with the school and what's the car show look like?
My son, Philip, played 4 years for Newdorf. Going into his junior year, Newdorf changed their head coach to Mr. Brian Murphy. They changed from Chris App, who was there for many years. Brian Murphy took over, and he wanted to start up the Parents Club again. So me, my wife, another parent, Jackie Steiner, we put our brains together. And the first thing we did as a big fundraiser is our car show. And funny thing is, how did I learn about doing the car shows was through a customer at Villamonte. So he came down to the school, looked at the property, and said, we could fill a lot of cars. So I didn't think it was going to go over well. So I decided to take, if you're familiar with the school, it goes around in a U. I decided to do half the school as a flea market and the other half as a car show. What ended up happening was there was lines going down Newdorf Lane of cars. And that is guaranteed money coming in. Granted, I got paid from the vendors, but they weren't the cars or the money. So the following year I said, you know what? We're going to push the vendors away and we're just going to blow open the school. My car show brings in close to 300 cars. I'm talking cars from Connecticut, down in Jersey, Delaware. They come from all over. That would be my second one. My third one, we started getting the hang of it. After going into my fourth and fifth one, I said, you know what? What do we got to do to change this car show, to make it more unique? What is the big thing that goes on around here now? are food trucks. So I brought in food trucks from all over the city. I went to shows in Manhattan, Brooklyn, Jersey, and I adapted some of the best food trucks. I had trucks from Staten Island, which one truck I wish that could still be here is local Staten Islanders, is Chini's. They were one of our biggest supporters, but they ended up leaving and closing shop. So I brought in another new truck that is blew the roof off the place last year. Actually sold out of food. Twisted Steaks.
Twisted Steaks, those are my guys. So I know you don't know me, but my company runs the food truck event in Mount Loretto. We run all the events in Mount Loretto. So we did the first food truck festival on Staten Island. All the guys you're mentioning are great. Twisted Steaks, they're great guys. They're great guys.
You know what? And now, like when I go see them, they treat me like family.
Yeah, they're great.
If they're on Staten Island, I'll go out of my way to go to that event just to support them because they supported Newdorf football. So getting back to Newdorf football, what had happened was the car show went off. Then we went into football season. Newdorf needed a new snack bar. So we adapted something called the Cougar Cafe because Newdorf is Central Cougars. So we painted the cafe. I got parents to come in. We got brand new granite tables through Villamonte. I got Coca-Cola to donate new refrigerators. I put deep fryers in there and nothing out of the team's pocket. Then along the stands, we put cougar paws all over the place. We painted them, put cougar paws.
So you're making a huge impact over there at the school, and that's just one of the things that you're working on.
Yes. So it's not only the football program, it's also the lacrosse program, which I also run fundraisers for them. We all became family. You know what? Parties we go to, this and that. And I would give them, the shirt off my back because now, after my son graduated, they could have said, you know what? You're done. We don't need you. They actually brought him back to coach on the JV staff. So
listen,
now
everybody needs a guy like you.
So now my son is heavily involved with the program, and his heart is breaking right now because he's usually with these kids. And you know what? He's worried there's not going to be a season next year. You know what? So we're heavily involved with that program. So you know what? I would do anything for them. You know what? Because I look at this. They looked out for my son for 4 years. They made sure he went a straight path. And I owe them that. I hate them because they made him grow up too fast.
Yeah, well,
But they made sure he did his schoolwork. They made sure his tests were good and everything. They stayed on top of all their athletes. Their students first and then their athletes. And you know what? I owe them, and that was my way for paying them back. After the 4 years, I could have left them and said, you know what? Somebody else did the car show. You know what? The hell with that. I'm going to stick around. As long as they allow me to do it, that car show each year keeps getting bigger and better. And you know what? I add newer things, newer trophies, more unique trophies. So
that's just one huge. I mean, the event is huge. I know it's a big event because, like I said, my company does events here on the island, so I know your event is huge. Let's shift gears now. So before we went live, I was asking you some questions, and you said that prior to you and your wife creating this pop-up pantry, which will be held tomorrow, and I'll give everyone details, you were actually driving around in your own vehicle delivering food. So tell me how did that happen? How did you begin? How did that even start?
All right. So what had happened was when we put the flyers out, one of the things we said is, if you can't come to us, we'll come to you. So we were getting orders over the phone. You know what? I'm a family of 3. I'm a family of 4. We would basically just write everything down. Things started sparking up, getting bigger and bigger, to eventually where sadly, I had to cut off deliveries. So I was worried that I was going to run out of food. So this is what I did was we packed up meals yesterday, and I went all over Staten Island We packed up the meals in the morning. If you told me you had a family of 3, and all my questions came out. Do you have any food allergies? Are you allergic to, anything? Do you have any dogs? Do you have any cats? I'm all the basic things. Any allergies? Are you not allowed to eat pork or beef? So I put the deliveries in my car and went off from one of my traits from the pizzeria is lining them up. And I went from New York to Grant City, as far as South Beach, as far as St. George, as far as West Brighton. I was all over the place.
But then it just gets too big then, right? I mean, you're only one guy. You're doing great work. So tomorrow now, talk about what tomorrow is going to look like and how does it work. I'm going to put the address up because I want people to know how they can participate. But from what you told me, tomorrow you're going to have your driveway set up in such a way so social distancing is important, but people are going to be able to come between the hours of 9 and 3, if I'm correct, or 10 and 3. 10 and 3. I'm going to put it up anyway, and pick up what they need based on nutrition value, based on pets that they have. Describe this. What is it? What are we going to do tomorrow? How does it look?
All right. Basically, it's nothing made. It's not cold. It's not cold food. It's not chicken. It's not meat. It's just your basics. It's going to be mainly pasta, sauce, mac and cheese, peanut butter, all your essentials you need. Snacks. You need toiletries. For the women, we took care of the women. I have feminine products. For the kids, we have kids shampoo. I took care of every category. Me and my wife sat down. My wife, Melissa, who has been by my side through everything and actually wants to choke me half the time because,
That's right. That means you're doing something good. If they're not, you got to keep on their toes.
Go back to the car shows. When I was working all those crazy hours at Villamonte, I'd be like, Melissa, there's a show out in Jersey. Can you go? She could say no, but she went with the kids and helped plug the show. So basically what's going to happen is my driveway is going to be set up. I'm going to set up vegetables, beans. It's going to be set up in all different categories. They're going to line up on the sidewalk, distance apart. One thing I ask is people just wear masks and gloves. If you don't have masks, I have a few to spare. I actually went out and bought. So this way, because I don't want you to show up and you don't have, and you have to leave. I want to cover everything. I have masks. I went out and bought gloves. I tell everybody you have to bring your own bags, but of course, I went out and bought shopping bags. I will have fresh produce tomorrow. I'm going to have fresh carrots, onions, pineapples, tomatoes. What else? Oranges.
So you have it's like a tomato down there. It's going to be like a supermarket tomorrow.
So basically, I'm not asking you for nothing. I don't want to know how much you have. I don't want to know anything. I want to make sure that your family is able to eat because I know times are tough and I want to give back to this island. I know what it is to live through tough times, and I want to make sure that other people have, before I have. And that's the way I was raised by my parents, to give to others.
That's an amazing thing.
Others. Don't worry about, what anybody says. You're not in it for the parade. You're in it just to give. My grandparents taught me this. I watched them do it through the nights of growing up. I was always at the Knights of Columbus, and now my parents do it too. My father and brother are big with the veterans. My mother's she's a para, but she works at ShopRite. But her main thing is Partners in Caring, is helping feed the homeless. She was actually on the Cheerios box twice, my mother.
That's great.
Helped raise money. So it's in my blood. But my family is very humble. It's not about the prestige. It's not about, make sure he gets all the honors. And that's what I want to teach my kids. Just go out there and help other people. Help the person that's hurt. You know what? Help anybody. Just do the right thing.
Do the right thing. I love that. That's like, that should be the mantra for everybody. Just do the right thing. So I know I personally had asked you because I admittedly did not donate to this cause and I wanted to. So I said, are you accepting, do you have a website set up? Do you have anything like that? You said you're getting checks, but you also mentioned that we're going to put it up that anyone who's interested can Venmo money to your wife's account at Melissa-Youngs-1. So we'll, I know when we get off, I'll be sure to send some money there to donate to the cause. I promise you we're going to get that done. I hope that there's a couple of viewers and listeners that will see it. We're going to put it up in the comment section. But tell me how, you said you've been getting donations as far as Florida. So how are you collecting the money to then go out and buy all of the supplies and the food and get all this done?
Well, people have been sending me checks. People sending me cash. So Tuesday, we went to Dollar Tree and we walked up there with 2 wagons of things. And what we walked out of there with was, any other supermarket would have cost us almost $1,000. We filled up 2 wagons full of needs for all of Staten Island. Food, toiletries, you name it. We threw it in there. And then we went over to Target. We got some other stuff. Simple stuff. It's about simple stuff. You know what? When you don't have nothing to eat, a box of mac and cheese or peanut butter is a decent meal. Me, I could live off peanut butter and jelly all my whole life.
I'm not going to disagree with you. I agree.
But for some people out there, peanut butter or Chef Boyardee, to us, may not be a good meal, but to them, is a 4-course meal. You know what? And I also have, which I got to remember, I got to pull out of the freezer. I got loaves of bread. You know what? Meals on Wheels also, which they were great. They donated to me. They gave me boxes full of stuff. You know what? They didn't have to do that. But you know what? They called me in the office, the big boss, my boss, Nick. He said, I got some stuff for you. Showed me cases full of stuff. Some of the big employees upstairs gave me bags. Some of the employees there also walked in. Here's some bags, a couple of donations. You know what? Everything is going towards the cause. And
then we have it up here at Melissa Youngs 1. So I hope that there's a few people watching. Like I said, as soon as we're done, I'm going to make a donation as well because I want to support you. It's an amazing story.
One other thing.
Sure.
All the pet food that I got, I do. Not only am I involved with Newdorf football, it's another one of my hats. My dream, my whole life was to own a bulldog. So we went out and rescued one from out in Long Island from a great organization, Hurley's Heart Bulldog Rescue. And there, if anybody's ever looking for a bulldog, look them up on Facebook, Hurley's Heart Bulldog Rescue. The lady Summer, she will go out of her way to make sure you get what you want. And my wife actually drove out there last night to pick up food. I'm talking not
so
one.
You have food for pets as well. So food for adults, children, pets.
Bags of food and beds. If your dog needs a bed, we're going to have that tomorrow. You know what? But she went out of her way to make sure not only, and I went out of my way to make sure not only are your children fed, but to other people, their animals are their children.
Animals can be kids too, right? So you really got all your bases covered. So I'm gonna interrupt you for 1 second because I want to do the COVID Talks Hero of the Day. So right now is the time. If anybody's watching us live, we appreciate it. For those of you who are watching, if you have any questions for Chris, if you have any thoughts or ideas as to how maybe we can help him with tomorrow's event, please put it in the comment section. We'll be sure to bring it up. Again, also in the comment section, we have the Advance article that featured Chris and his pop-up pantry event. We also posted the address and the hours in the comment section of where the event will be taking place tomorrow. So, Chris, you got about a 10-second break here. We're going to bring up our COVID Talks Hero of the Day, and we want to shout out to Nike. So Nike is today's COVID Talks hero of the day. So what they did was they designed an athletic shoe specifically for healthcare workers. It's supposedly designed to withstand 12-hour shifts. And what they did was they donated 30,000 pairs of these shoes shown there, 30,000 pairs to hospitals across the United States, and another 2,500 pairs to hospitals in Europe. So the shoe is called the Air Zoom Pulse, and Nike gave out 32,500 pairs of these to first responders and people on the front lines. So you know what? Say what you will about Nike. Sometimes they get bad reviews. Sometimes they're in the news for bad stuff. But you know what? Nothing but positivity. Supporting our first responders and those on the front line. So great work, Nike. We're proud to have you as today's COVID Talks Hero of the Day. All right. So, Chris, we're back. It's me and you. I am going to scroll and scan.
One more quick thing.
Sure.
I just want to give a plug out to a good friend of mine who got me involved with this whole thing, Mr. Joe Preach. He's actually a veteran. He's a friend of my father's. He's the pantry we worked at on that Saturday. Sunday, Mother's Day, 239 Sagayan Avenue. If you can't make it to us, 239 Sagayan Avenue at 5:30. They're doing a drive-up pantry. They're going to be doing a walk-up pantry, and they're also going to be doing hot meals. And if you want to make any donations there, you know what? Anybody wants to drop anything off there, 4 o'clock. So it's 239 Sagayan Avenue. It's a little church. There's a nice parking lot. My friend Joe Preach, he's a great guy. He's doing great stuff for the community also. He's a great veteran. And you know what? If it wasn't for him, you know what? If all the issues I was having, I would call him up, Joe, what do I do? He would tell me all the basics to do. And he's going to be here tomorrow. And like I said, Saturday at 239 Sagayan Avenue. If you know anybody else who can't make it here, you can go out there. They're also doing hot meals. Again, no questions asked. Even though it's Mother's Day, you know what? Everybody has to eat. It's
agreed. And we just put that up in the comments, Chris, just so you know. So right now in the comment section, we put it up there, 239 Sagayan Avenue at 5:30 will be another pop-up pantry event. So I'm scrolling through the comments, Chris, and I want to highlight this one in particular. So Sally LaConte Young's watching from Florida. That's my son-in-law and daughter's pantry. A wonderful thing they're doing. So shout out. There you go. You got your in-laws looking in and checking in on you. Perfect. Our best friend, our longest COVID Talks supporter and biggest supporter, Vito Canena. Where is he? Vito Canena is on here, and I just saw a comment that, yeah. So, Chris, this is Vito Canena. I don't know if you know who he is, but he's a big supporter of the show, and he puts. I just saw this gentleman picking up supplies at Key Food in Villamonte earlier today. So even today, you're out there doing work and getting things done, getting prepared for tomorrow. So let's see if we have any other questions or comments. And if we don't have any comments, that's fine. We don't need to. You get a lot of shout outs, which is good. All right. So you know what? We're going to close the comment section because right now we're going to close out our show for the evening. So before we let you go, Chris, I want to thank you so much. First of all, I want to thank you for what you're doing for the island, how you took it upon yourself to do this basically all by yourself. You and your wife took it upon yourself to do this, and you're helping our community in ways that we need to be helped. And it's a tremendous effort that you're doing. So I applaud you. I thank you. I wish you nothing but luck tomorrow. Anyone again who's watching and listening, please look for that Venmo account. I placed it in the comment sections. I have it already queued up in my phone. You could send anything you want, right? Every dollar helps, Chris.
It doesn't matter. You know what? Whatever comes in is going to go back into the community. It's, you know what? Like I said,
if you could send 10, 20, 50 bucks, think about it. Look up that Venmo account. Shoot Chris and his wife, who are doing amazing things right now in the community. Shoot them a few dollars so they could put it into use by going and buying food, supplies, everything, even including dog food and cat food that's going to be distributed tomorrow. And I'm sure that tomorrow is going to go well. And I'm sure that if there is a need again that arises, that Chris will be there. Chris and his wife and his family will be there to support Staten Island. So Staten Island thanks you, Chris, and I thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
I'm gonna bring you down into the green room, and I'll see you in about a minute. All right, my friend?
You got it.
Thank you. Wow. So, I mean, you're talking about a gentleman who's involved in the community in so many ways, doing things for high school. He's a worker at Meals on Wheels, the winner of an Unsung Hero Award. We have in our midst a regular guy who just took it upon himself to go above and beyond to ensure that if there is a need on Staten Island, in this case related to food, that he's there and that assistance is available. From driving it around in his own personal vehicle to now creating and setting up a drive-by pickup pantry. Great work, Chris. We're honored to have had you on the show tonight. So before we close, just a few quick comments before we close the evening's show. Once again, interested in following us or seeing what we got coming up next, follow us on Facebook at COVID Talk. Visit our website, covid-talks.com. Subscribe to the YouTube channel at COVID Talks, and download us as a podcast on iTunes and Spotify. All right. So with that, I will wish everyone a safe and happy Friday night, if we can have such a thing. And also, we're off on the weekend, so happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, especially my beautiful wife, Emanuela. And once again, this is Anthony Rapp from PR Cision. COVID Talks, positive conversations during uncertain times. Thanks for watching.